turn a one-time windfall into a four-layer safety system in 30 days, using Sun Tzu's defense-first rule so your money becomes harder to break than your career. In 2002, 19-year-old Michael Carroll won about £9.7 million in the UK lottery while working as a garbage collector, according to BBC reporting. Within a few years, he had burned through most of it on houses, parties, and risky bets. And by 2010, he was close to broke and back to ordinary work. Psychologists call this sudden wealth syndrome. A big win hits an unprepared system, and the money moves faster than the thinking. A 2010 study of around 35,000 lottery winners found that about 1,900 filed for bankruptcy within 5 years, which is roughly 5%, proof that more money does not automatically mean more safety. This shows that a windfall doesn't change your discipline. It amplifies it. Sun Tzu called this making yourself secure against defeat. Today we call it building a financial moat. Same principle. Lock in safety before you chase gains. Sun Tzu said, "To secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands." The opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. In modern money terms, you control buffers and rules, markets and luck control opportunities. Your first job after a windfall is not to grow it, but to build defense so strong that no single mistake, job loss, or market swing can wipe you out. The framework is the four-layer wealth moat. Think cash shield, then runway reserve, then risk firewall, then growth reserves. Use this whenever extra money lands, so every surplus hardens your defense instead of inflating your lifestyle. Layer 1 is the cash shield. Target at least 1 month of essential expenses in a separate, boring, instant access account. This is rent or bond, groceries, utilities, transport, and medical basics. No investing from this layer, no borrowing for treats. Its only job is, if income stops for 30 days, life still runs. Layer 2 is the runway reserve. Here you're aiming for 3 to 6 months of total living costs if you're salaried, or 6 to 12 months if your income fluctuates. This can sit in a high liquidity savings or money market vehicle. The rule is simple. This layer is for real shocks, job loss, contract collapse, key client leaving, not for holidays or gadgets. You refill it before you upgrade anything in your lifestyle. Layer 3 is the risk firewall. This layer isn't just money, it's structure. It includes adequate insurance for health, disability, and key assets, sensible limits on high-interest debt, and basic legal protections like updated beneficiaries and a simple will. The windfall's job here is to close dangerous gaps, pay down expensive debt to a safe level, fix underinsured risks, and tidy basic paperwork so one event can't drag everything down. Layer 4 is the growth reserves. Only what remains after layers 1 to 3 get funded belongs here. This is the part you invest for long-term growth, diversified, rules-driven, and sized so that even a 50% drawdown would be painful but not fatal. You decide a fixed percentage you're willing to put at risk, and you put it into long-term vehicles with clear time horizons, not into every pitch that hits your inbox. The moat rule is simple. Every windfall follows this sequence. First, top up the cash shield to 1 month. Next, push the runway reserve toward your chosen number of months. Then, strengthen the risk firewall. Only then send money to growth reserves or lifestyle upgrades. Defense first, opportunity second. Now let's see how this plays out in real life. You re a 35-year-old product manager, and a company sale drops a payout worth roughly 12 months of your salary into your account at once. The problem is that friends, family, and social media are full of ideas for cars, property deals, and angel investments, and you feel pressure to decide fast. You run the payout through the four-layer wealth moat. First, you freeze your lifestyle for 30 days and park the full amount in a safe holding account. Then you calculate essential monthly costs, and put 1 month into your cash shield. Next, you move 3 to 6 months of total costs into your runway reserve. After that, you use a fixed slice, maybe 10 to 20% of the windfall, to close risk firewall gaps by reducing expensive debt and fixing underinsurance. Only what's left is allowed into growth reserves with a written investment plan. 30 days later, you have clear buffers, reduced risk, and the smaller, intentional growth pot instead of one big exposed pile of cash. Now shift to a creator with a breakout month. You normally make $3,000 a month, and a brand deal suddenly pushes 1 month's income over $15,000. Because the money came through work, it feels like permission to scale spending immediately. You treat it like a windfall and apply the same sequence. First, you hold back at least 80% of the surplus in a holding account for 30 days. Then you move 1 month of rock-bottom expenses into a cash shield account you never use for gear or travel. Next, you push your runway reserve towards 6 months of total business and personal costs, so a dry quarter doesn't put you back at zero. Then you allocate a specific amount to your risk firewall, maybe prepaying tax, upgrading health cover, or protecting crucial equipment. Only then do you put a pre-decided percentage into growth reserves or business upgrades, like better production tools. Instead of one lucky spike and a hangover, you walk away with months of runway and a repeatable rule for every future big month. There are a few traps to avoid while you do this. First, treating the windfall as income. When a lump sum arrives, it feels like many months of salary at once, so spending can jump by 50 to 100% in a year. That breaks every buffer rule. The fix is to label it capital, not income, and route it through the four-layer wealth moat before spending a cent. Second, single-layer thinking. Many people skip straight to growth reserves without a cash shield or runway reserve. When a downturn hits, they're forced to sell at the worst moment. The fix is to commit that at least 40 to 60% of any windfall goes to layers 1 and 2 until your month targets are met. Third, having no written rules. Without explicit percentages and thresholds, every exception feels justified. Just this once. This opportunity won't come again. That's how moats silently erode. The fix is to write a 1-page windfall code of conduct with your percentages, minimum months of runway, and a list of automatic no's, and keep it where you can see it before logging into your banking app. Here is your 30-day campaign to put all of this in place. Days 1 to 2, freeze and map. Move the entire windfall into a separate, low-risk holding account. Decide that for 30 days, your lifestyle and recurring spending do not change. List your essential monthly expenses and your total monthly costs on a single page. Your success signal is simple. 1-page current life cost sheet completed and no lifestyle upgrades started. Days 3 to 7. Build Layer 1, the cash shield. Using your essential monthly expense number, move 1 full month of those costs into a new, clearly named cash shield account. Set a rule that this account is only for genuine emergencies when income temporarily stops. Success here is cash shield funded to 1 month of essential expenses with a written rule for when you can use it. Days 8 to 14. Fund Layer 2, the runway reserve. Choose your target. 3 to 6 months of total living costs if you're salaried, 6 to 12 months if your income is variable. Move enough of the windfall so that combined with existing savings, you're at least halfway to that target. Set automatic transfers from future income to keep building after day 30. Success is having the runway reserve balance and target written down, with automated monthly contributions scheduled. Days 15 to 21. Strengthen Layer 3, the risk firewall. List your high-interest debts, key insurances, and missing legal basics. Use a fixed percentage of the remaining windfall, say 10 to 30%, to reduce the most expensive debt, plug obvious insurance gaps, and if needed, pay for basic legal documents like a will and updated beneficiaries. Success is at least one major risk reduced, either high-interest debt meaningfully lowered or a critical insurance or legal gap closed. Days 22 to 30. Design Layer 4 and your windfall code of conduct. Decide what percentage of the windfall you are willing to put into long-term growth reserves and what stays in safety layers. Write a simple rule set. Target allocation across layers, maximum amount you'll put into any single investment idea, and a minimum holding period before you touch growth reserves. Automate transfers into your chosen long-term vehicles where appropriate, and keep a small, clearly bounded amount, maybe 5 to 10%, for joy spending so you do not feel deprived. Success is a one-page windfall code of conduct, completed, growth allocation fixed, and at least one automatic contribution into a long-term vehicle setup. A windfall is a stress test, not a shortcut. People do not lose the money by accident. They follow invisible systems that were already there, just never exposed at this scale. When you build a four-layer wealth moat, you flip that script. One bonus, one sale, one inheritance becomes the moment your life gets safer, not just louder. You gain 1 month of instant protection, months of runway, a tighter risk firewall, and growth that sits on top of stability instead of replacing it. Sun Tzu's fighters first made themselves impossible to defeat, then waited for the right opportunity. In financial terms, that means buffers, rules, and patience. The next time money arrives faster than usual, you'll know exactly what to do in the first 30 days. This is education, not personalized financial advice. Outcomes vary with execution and context. For large sums or complex situations, speak with a qualified financial advisor who understands your local laws and your real life. If this helped, share it with one person who has just had, or hopes to have a big financial win so they keep it, not just touch it.